Thanks. So welcome to SLA Talks. So my name is Pritt. I'm a student leadership assistant. I'm a member of the Plastic Shatners for almost a year now. I'm a member of the ECHO Learning Community, stands for Educators in Context and Community. I am also, what else do I do? Oh my gosh. I had 3 jobs on campus, including student leadership assistant. And tonight I'm going to talk to you a little bit about identity. It seems like a theme that's like reoccurring through these talks. So if you're like questioning if like all the SLAs are having like identity crises, that's probably true. So it's okay. We're gonna own it. So anyways, mine kind of started at the beginning of this year, or I guess like a year from now, or a year in past. I was a member of a program called 4K for Cancer, which is a cross-country bike ride from Baltimore to Seattle, or Portland, or San Francisco. I chose Seattle because who doesn't love the Pacific Northwest? And basically, our mission is to raise money and awareness for young adults fighting cancer. In that, it was really the first time I felt like I was the best version of myself. I was raising $5,000 for young adults fighting cancer. I was meeting new people in different communities every day. I'm a very interpersonal person. I like meeting new people. It gives me energy. I was on like it was like a runner's high pretty much every day because you're just sweating buckets for like 8 hours a day. And it was the best time of my life, hands down. And then come like August, it was kind of like back to reality, which is when I came back to Bowling Green. And in the first like few months of that, I was fine. Every time, even like the first like week I was back, I felt like I had grown so much and to like appreciate everything in my life. Like during the ride, I came back into BG and I'm like, wow, that tree looks super beautiful. How did I not see that before? Just stuff like that. And then like 2 months into it, I was really quite the opposite. I don't think I was really appreciating anything, in my life as much as I was. I wasn't very happy. I didn't feel the same sense of purpose that I had during the ride, and I felt like a completely different person. So that leaves me with like, oh, so like, what am I doing? Like, who am I? So after like looking out of that, I used a technique that is a new technique in improv comedy that hasn't really been named yet. And what it is, it's basically stepping outside of the scene. So I could be in the scene and I'm a character talking in a very raspy voice and maybe licking my hand every 2 minutes. From that, you can't really gain a lot of information. But if I'm in here and then I step out of the scene and be like, okay, I'm actually 2 dogs stacked on top of each other trying to like get like free food or something like that, wearing a trench coat and a hat. See, now you understand fully what's going on here. You see that there's 2 dogs and you get a much better sense of their identity. So I did exactly that in the method of making a fake personality test that I said was for my class. And you get it's a very good that I'm a TLEP major because nobody knows what TLEP is. And you could make that up and do pretty much anything and dub it as an assignment or whatever. And so that's what I did. And I sent it to all friends in all these parts of my life. And the results were pretty much exactly what I expected. That I was a different person in each one of these groups. So, student leadership assistant, I'm a very fun person, in a group of like people who are very determined, a group of leaders, very efficient. They study leadership and they're like really cool. I'm more of a sometimes I kind of feel like a source of entertainment. Or like some kind of, in the best sense possible. Like I'm technically a comedian, so I like that. It's super fun. And I feel like those are the strengths that kind of shine in that situation. In ECHO, Educators in Context and Community, for anybody who's ever been a part of ECHO, has a very angsty attitude in there, which is kind of like, screw the education system, we want to like burn down Nancy DeVoe's house or Betsy DeVoe's house or something like that, and like totally change things, which is like necessary. There's a lot of stuff that should be changed in the education system, and that's kind of like the personality that ECHO brings out of me. I'm a very, I think people would not view me as a leader, more like very outspoken, a little bit angsty. That's kind of who I've been in that. Going on, the Plastic Shatners presents Isaac Pritt. And in the Plastic Shatners, in a group of people who are all very funny, very entertaining, very creative, those strengths that I have don't really stand out. What does stand out is my sense of kindness. I think we do this thing called a compliment circle at the end of our practices sometimes, where we just go in a circle complimenting each other, which is very sweet. Usually I get complimented on kind of my personality, my kindness, my willingness, my thoughtfulness, and stuff like that. And that's kind of the strength that stands out in that scenario, and I'm totally okay with that. And then there was me during 4K for Cancer, and it's where I got my first nickname, Izzy, or the Sunshine Kid, according to one of my favorite poems. And I love this person because Izzy is very spontaneous. He'll swim in 35-degree water and climb on top of icebergs and stuff like that, and then be a part of poetry circles and stuff at the end of the day, and a very deep person, a motivator and a counselor at the same time, which is really interesting, and I really loved embodying that. I thought as part of this group, I'll just give you a gauge on how close and how weird it all was. The third weirdest thing that we did was this thing called baby birding, where you chewed food and spat it into somebody else's mouth. And, to us at the time, it wasn't. Yeah, you're all having reactions like that. And to us at the time, we're it wasn't. It's not normal, but it's kind of what's going on. And basically, in that, I thought that was the best version of myself for a while. So when I got back to PG, I was really sad and that I wasn't this person. And so I really started stepping out of the scene. And when I saw that, I saw I really should find this better. In Echo, that's kind of a need that, leadership is a need that isn't met as often because many people are very emotional and we're all teachers, there's not as many people who are just screaming in their seats in there. So that's a role that I serve. In the Plastic Shatners, whose strengths are all being entertainers and really just spreading happiness in the world through their performing. That's something that I'm pretty mediocre at, honestly. So something thoughtfulness and kindness is a strength that stands out there. And with 4K, while you're doing century 100-mile rides during the day and expected to volunteer at a cancer center the same day, motivation and really a strong sense of purpose is what you need. And I was thinking about, one of my favorite things in life is water. Water can be three things at once. It can be ice, which provides a really great environment for polar bears and penguins, which are all very cute, so we need that. It provides humidity, which is important, I'm sure, for some reason. I'll have Maddie explain. She's environmental stuff. And then water in liquid form, which is the source of all life, pretty much, besides the sun, which is also great. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have multiple personalities. It's not a bad thing to be different people around different groups because you're rising to the occasion. It's not that you're hiding yourself from those certain places. It's that you're rising to who that group needs you to be. So pretty much you could be all these people and yourself all at once. But basically, yeah, that's pretty much it.